press conference on our launch of the Open Data Portal. Joining us today are Minister Chrysoulis, the Minister of Internal Services and the Public Service Commission, joining us as well as the Premier, and Bill Wilson, CEO of MindSea, who will bring a few remarks. So first, Minister Chrysoulis will come up to say a few words. Thank you for joining us today.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Halifax Central Library. Thank you for being here today. This is the perfect venue for today's announcement. This space symbolizes openness, information, innovation, and curiosity, as does the open data movement happening around the globe. Today, it's my pleasure to join you with Premier Stephen McNeil as we launch Nova Scotia's Open Data Portal. I'm very proud that the Department of Internal Services established a website to publish user-friendly government data. This data can be used by individuals, researchers, and businesses in a way that can stimulate economic growth. The well-being of the province's economy is a priority. Today's announcement is one of the ways we're supporting that. Other jurisdictions have joined the open data movement and have seen measurable economic benefits and job creations. The largest example in the world of open data having an economic benefit is right here in Canada, where our federal government saved $3.2 billion when a citizen discovered a fraudulent tax charity. We recognize that creating sustainable opportunities for Nova Scotia is the role of the private sector. Government's job's role is to till the soil so that the private sector will grow. We hope to lead the country in growth and opportunities. Small businesses employ almost half of all our workers and contribute to our economy every day in Nova Scotia. Those businesses are always looking for new information to help them. Our open data portal will help entrepreneurs access data that they can use to create new companies. Before I began my career in politics, I worked as a commercial lender and owned various small businesses. As a certified management accountant, I know firsthand how important having the right information for you to launch your business or grow your business is. I look forward to seeing how businesses and individuals use and share our data today and into the future. I hope that you will visit the information comments behind us after the remarks and visit the portal. Once again, thank you very much for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our Premier, the Honourable Stephen McNeil.
Thank you very much, Labby. Again, welcome. It's a beautiful venue. Not only is it a beautiful library, but it's a great destination for all Nova Scotians. Today, I'm proud to announce and launch the Government of Nova Scotia's Open Data Portal. Open data is one part of our vision to be an open and accountable government which focuses on putting Nova Scotians first. By making government data available online, the public will have easier access to data they can use to understand their government, support their businesses, and gain insight and make new discoveries. We want to draw on the collective knowledge and innovation of the people of Nova Scotia to help grow our economy and improve the lives of those around us. Open data is about making government data available to anyone to use and reuse for any purpose. It's driven by the belief that government data belongs to the people. It is about reimagining the possibilities, applying fresh eyes to public problems, and using data to drive innovation. Open data has been implemented in hundreds of other governments worldwide, including Halifax and the Government of Canada, where the benefits have been significant. Businesses use open data to inform their operations. For example, using traffic census, demographics, business dictionaries data to determine the best location for their offices or new storefronts. Or to create new business lines, such as developing applications and software solutions built on top of government open data. Studies in the EU have pointed to service improvements, specifically in healthcare, reductions in transaction costs, internal efficiencies, and billions of dollars of economic growth attributed to open data of public information that is already there. That is why I'm so excited to be standing here to launch our new open data portal. Since becoming the Premier, I've been working to set the right conditions for the private sector to drive economic growth. Instead of throwing millions of dollars in corporate welfare at companies and hoping for success, our government is addressing the root causes of why businesses struggle and miss out on opportunities. We are changing what government does and how we do it. With our new Office of Regulatory Affairs, we've already streamlined the government's paperwork required for convenience stores, hotels, and restaurants. We have made it easier for those who are in the trades to move between our provinces, and any new regulations or pieces of legislation coming forward from this government will be reviewed with the limit red tape. Today, with our open data portal, we are adding to a new record by creating a valuable opportunity for the private sector to continue to do their job, which is to drive economic growth in our province. In addition to all of these positive things, open data also supports academics by providing them with access to primary data and to use for research. Nova Scotians can use the data to become more informed, to help solve public problems, and will benefit from the applications and new insights gained by data. All of this means that together we can use this data to help create a better Nova Scotia. Starting today, Nova Scotians will have quick and easy access through our new portal to practical, useful information such as civic address data, property tax rates, licensed daycares, locations of government services such as family resource centers and community service offices. Traffic volumes, historical vital statistics are now online. And joining us here today, this morning, is Bill Wilson, CEO of MindSee, someone who knows how important access to data is. He used the open data from HRM to develop an app to help Halifax transit commuters know when their bus will be arriving. And I'm sure on a day like today, many people appreciate that. I can only imagine some of the ideas people like Bill will come up with as we continue to make more data available. This is just the beginning. More data will be released on a regular and ongoing basis. And I'm happy to announce today that we'll be partnering with community, industry, and educational institutions to hold contests in the coming months where we will be encouraging the people of Nova Scotia to put the data to use and develop practical, innovative applications based on their provincial data. I look forward to this data helping you to innovate and discover, to create opportunities to grow our economy and improve the lives of all Nova Scotians. This portal is now live and can be accessed at data.novascotia.ca. And I now want to welcome Bill to come forward to say a few words from someone who is actually using this data in a practical, thoughtful way to improve the lives of our citizens. Bill.
Good morning. So my name is Bill Wilson. I run a small mobile design and development studio here in Halifax called MindSee. And we build some apps, and some of those apps use open data. So this morning I wanted to talk to you about a few ways I think open data can be used to make our cities better and make our governments better. So the first I want to talk about is Transit 360. It's one of our own products. It has very humble beginnings. It started off with a guy named Will LaChance, who was new to the city here and really found it difficult to navigate the transit system. So he did what any good software developer would do, is he got on his bicycle and he went around to all the different transit stops in the city and collected all of the data he could about the transit stops. So that's the location, the route numbers, the go time number, everything he could. He went back, put that in a database, built an application, put it out there, and he was able to figure out how to get from point A to point B on the peninsula. So it was pretty great. When I heard about this, I contacted him and I said, have you thought about building a mobile app? And he said, of course, it's a natural next step. The phone has got some great capabilities. It's got a GPS in it, it's got always connected data, it's got a great screen to display that data. So we got together and we decided to build this application, and we used the data that Will had collected. And we put out the application and we had really great hopes, high hopes. And the feedback we got back was good, but very tempered with, where is my bus stop? We didn't have all the data. So this was the biggest problem. So we tried to crowdsource the data. We put in capabilities into the app that would let you take a picture of the bus stop that you happened to be at that we didn't have. We would record the location of that stop and we would add it to our database and then hopefully get the rest of the data. That didn't really work so well. So most of the reviews were 1 star. You know, we really like this app, but we can't use it. So around that time, the city was putting together its own data set to give to Google for Google Maps, which is fantastic. It's the right way to do it. It's an open standard. You know, it gets open data out there. The challenge was that it was still pretty closed. We couldn't get access to it. So we worked with a few councillors in the city, and we worked with some business folks here in the city to get the right contacts within the government to talk about opening up that data. So it took a while, but we managed to get that data set opened up for anybody to use. It was in a really great open format that everybody could use. It was easy to digest from a programmer's point of view, and you could really integrate it in some interesting ways. So we put that into our application pretty quickly. We put it out there, and of course, exactly what we thought would happen happened. Everybody really liked it. We had a demonstrable, tool that was using open data to prove that it was better than the existing systems. So the existing systems at the time were, paper schedules, PDFs, the go time system, which is good, but still limited and takes a long time to get the information. So we think that's a really great example of using open data for taking a data set that's really complicated and dense and simplifying it down to something that's actually usable by the everyday person, the everyday transit rider. So some of the other power in open data comes from taking data sets that you've never thought could be connected and trying to connect them. So there's a technologist in San Francisco, his name is Matt Metcalf, and he was asked this question: how do I build a good open data mashup? And his response was a bit tongue-in-cheek and a bit contrived, but he built an example which was the following. He took all of San Francisco's food vendor permit information, their locations where they could sell food, and he combined that with city-maintained tree information and built an app called Shady Eats. And Shady Eats' goal is to help you find a nice shady spot to grab a bite to eat in San Francisco. So it's not going to solve any great social problems, but it's a really good example of taking two pieces of data that were collected for completely different reasons and connecting them and proving that you can build something useful. So what's a more concrete example of this? Take a business owner. She wants to open up a new storefront. Not really sure where to do it. It's a new city, it's a new town. Take the appraisal information of the properties, take the zoning information of those properties, take the parking meter information, take the transit information, lay all those together and have a look at where the tax assessment meets the what you can afford, it meets the zoning requirements, and also has great access to parking and transit. So that's another example of taking a couple of different data sets that were never really designed to overlay and putting them together to build something useful. So I think those are two ways that you can really use open data to make something better. The other one I'll touch on, I think is really important, is civic capability. So the capability for the average citizen to partner with government. And I'll express this by way of another example. In New York City, they have a huge open data movement there. Thousands and thousands of data sets are open. And they pulled together, someone pulled together a map of fire hydrant locations and parking fines, and found that there was one fire hydrant in Manhattan that was racking up $55,000 a year in fines. And so while that's a nice bit of revenue for the city, I'm sure they'd rather have that spot clear for fire trucks, right? So he went down and had a look at that spot and realized that it's covered with the fire hydrant was set back from the road, there was a bike lane, there was a sidewalk extension, and it looked like a painted parking spot. Like it looked that way. So he contacted the government and said, hey, there's this spot, looks like it's generating a lot of revenue for you guys, but, probably should be clear. And he didn't really expect anything to come of it because, it's just one voice, right? And sure enough, 3 weeks later, he went down and checked the spot, and it had been painted zebra striped, white paint, no parking, to try and solve that issue. So that's just a simple example of how average, everyday people can communicate with their government, find inefficiencies or find new ways of looking at data that hadn't thought before. So I'll leave you with that. The new open data portal the government's provided, I had a preview of it this morning. It's fantastic. You can do tons of these mashups right there on the portal. You don't have to be a developer to do this. So I would encourage everybody to try it out and take a look at what you can do with the data. And if you're a developer, definitely dig into the APIs, figure out how you can connect that data, build some great apps, and put them out there for people to use. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, everyone, for coming, and to Bill, thanks so much for showing what practical applications can be used. And I just want, for those that are here who work in the public service, who have been part of this journey, let me say thank you for your commitment to this. We will continue to rely on your enthusiasm that you've shown so far to this point to continue to make sure that we're providing this information to Nova Scotians to use. And I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize Andrew Coates, who is here. And Andrew, I don't want to, there's a whole bunch of people who've been part of this, but Andrew works in my office. From the day I became Premier, Andrew has been pushing this idea because he believed it would be the right thing for Nova Scotia to make a difference in the lives of Nova Scotians. So Andrew, let me say thank you on behalf of all of the people in the public service who work with you and those of us in the office who have the privilege of being your partner in this journey of trying to deliver better services to Nova Scotians. So congratulations, this is an exciting day for Nova Scotia.